Hello, Dragneel. Welcome back to Higurashi. Chapter 4. I'm not going to go too far into it, I'm just going to continue. If you were to call Hinamizawa a rather lonely village, then Akasaka was outright desolate. For your everyday city boy like me, I just couldn't understand why anybody would force themselves to live here. There were signs that people had, but they were all covered in dust and developed in ivy, indicating that it was all abandoned. People really lived in a place like this, didn't they? Well, it was a long time ago. A remote place like this is pretty rough for old folk to live. And the younger people probably wanted to try living in a more suitable place. If there's nobody left to take the reins, all that gets left is this. Even if I had no personal attachment to this village, seeing the disused buildings made me feel a little sentimental. It seems that Ooishi also felt the same way. Was the wallet found over here? The person who found it must have a good reason to come up to this desolate place. Yeah, there's some villagers who have a field out in the mountains here. They pass by here in the morning and evening. The villagers who work in the fields walk by here every day? No way. They probably go as far as they can by car. So in the early mornings and evenings, they pass by here and just happen to find a missing wallet. They probably did. Where exactly did they say they found? Did they say they found it? In a thicket just a bit farther ahead. The person who found the wallet just happened to have some stomach cramps and was planning to use the thicket to do his business, it seems. It was there he happened to find it, probably hoping there was some toilet paper in there. Everything about that story just seems a little too convenient. Right from the discovery of the wallet, I just can't shake the feeling that something's off. I expressed the feeling that I had from the start of the day, quite frankly. It seemed too good to be true, but it was unwavering proof. But it was too perfect, sickeningly so. That was my feeling. You might actually be onto something by saying it's all a little too perfect. Meaning, because I heard a little something from a friend of mine in the 4th Division, where Oreo, or as I like to call her, Oreo, Sonozaki, referenced the kidnapping of the minister's grandson. She referenced it? Yeah. It's been several days since the minister's grandson has been kidnapped. Poor boy. It'd be nice if they let him go soon. It seems that old Oreo muttered something like that while on her veranda, and that little musing was conveyed to the various people working behind the scenes at this one lucky family. Right? I had heard something earlier from Sato-san, the informant, that when the leader Oreo had a concern, somebody in the family would be considerate. So in essence, she gave the order to release the hostage. I see it that way. The wallet being conveniently discovered was just a ploy to hand the boy over to the police. Or would they release the hostage? Well, there's only one reason why someone got to release the hostage, isn't there? What is it? They reached a deal. That would mean the minister probably promised to halt the Hinamizawa Dam project. The dam project will definitely go away. At the moment, those words that the girl had said resurfaced in the back of my mind. In the end, it was turning out exactly as she had proclaimed. The young girl knew the circumstances. She knew everything about this kidnapping incident, from the beginning to the end. Akasaka, the girl unexpectedly called my name. What is it? Go back to Tokyo. Huh? For long, you will woefully regret coming to this village. That will be an incredibly pathetic thing to see. So I thought I'd warn you right now. But I come to regret it. Stop whining. When you tried crossing the road when the Don't Walk sign was up, did your parents finish explaining why it was dangerous before pulling you back to the sidewalk? They'd pull you back right away, wouldn't they? They'd pull you back before explaining why it was dangerous, wouldn't they? In other words, something like that. I didn't need to hear that. The girl who knew everything from start to finish had warned me in the beginning, go back to Tokyo. Akasaka, you're such a coward. We'll probably find the boy, but what happens afterwards will probably be a bit of a problem. How it'll be a problem, though, is something a single officer like me can't figure out. Do you know a girl named Rika Furude? What I had said was such a Sequitur that Ooishi sat in stunned silence for a while. Of course I know her. She's the only daughter of the Furude family, one of the 3 families. Higurashi. Well, this was an unexpected name to hear. I'm a bit surprised. Does public safety think that the Furude family smells fishy and wants to keep an eye on them? Share some of that information with me, please. No, it's not like that. It's just something that caught my attention. Well, whatever. It wouldn't do to not answer a question from a friend I sat at the same table with. I'm honored that you'd call me a friend. So that little lady is, well, somewhat of a village mascot. She's beloved by everybody in the village. Some of the older folk worship her especially. Worship? I don't know much about it, you see. Girls born in the Furude family have somewhat of a sacred implication, it seems. One of the local believes in he himself, the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama, or something like that, or so the story goes, apparently. Oyashiro-sama. Now that you mentioned, I think I saw Oyashiro-sama written on some of the Alliance's banners. What is Oyashiro-sama exactly? It's the name of the guardian deity of Hinozawa. They believe it'll exact punishment on those who do ill towards the village. Well, if there was such a convenient god around, the guys at the dam would have long since been done in by divine justice. Luckily, nothing like that has happened to anybody just yet. The grandson of the minister who traveled the village as a result of Oyashiro-sama's anger was... what do they call it again? Alright. Onikakushi. The minister's grandson was demoned away. That would probably be how the script is being written. I see. It probably will turn into something like that. Divine punishment wrought by Oyashiro-sama. And the culprit is the living then the culprit is the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama, that girl. Even I didn't know exactly what I was saying. The fact that Ooishi laughed it off was a bit of a relief. Ooishi's joyous laughter was so infectious that I began to laugh like an idiot as well. Oh, this is unusual. Ooishi, after laying into the horn several times, rolled the window down and leaned out, waving his arm in an exaggerated manner. There was a car headed the opposite way. Until now, we hadn't run into any other cars except our own. And of all places, it was at this dislocation. It seems that Ooishi knew the owner of that car. The other car also tripped its horn and came to a stop. Dr. Erie, good afternoon. The other car's window rolled down slowly, revealing a young man in a white overcoat. He was about my age, or perhaps a bit older. But you really can't judge somebody by their appearance. Why, if it isn't Ooishi-san, good afternoon. Fancy meeting you here. It's my line, Doctor. I never thought I'd see you here. Nufufu. What happened? Oh, nothing. Just a little house call. Oh, greatly. Was it an emergency? No, nothing quite that serious, thankfully. Nufufu. I'll take my leave here. If I don't get back quickly, my staff will be angry with me. Being the head of a clinic must be tough. Well then, take care. The young doctor named Iri, after issuing his farewell, drove forwards and soon disappeared around a corner. Ooishi also drove forwards, but soon came to a stop again. He pulled out a worn map book from the dash. His expression didn't have an ounce of reverence. He was perfectly serious. What is it? Fleming shouldn't be making any house calls today. Must have been quite an emergency, or otherwise a patient with some extenuating circumstances. Ooishi flipped through the pages, opening up to the map of Takatsuro. After that, he took a look around and started to figure out what our current location was. Are you saying that emergency is suspicious? Didn't I say there's hardly anybody that lives in the Takatsura area? The road we're on right now is here. Dr. Erie came from this direction. Having no sense of our surroundings, I couldn't digest anything about the place he was indicating on the map. Heading towards the spot where the wallet was found. By the way, that's over here. See? You're heading to one of the few residences in Takatsudo. It's the wrong road, meaning Dr. Inugai came from a direction where there are no residents. As long as somebody was working in the fields between these mountains didn't collapse. But if somebody collapses and you call a doctor, normally you'd bring them back with you for a more detailed examination. But just now, Dr. Inugai said it was nothing serious, and it didn't seem like anybody else was in the car with him. Ooishi didn't say any more than that. I also said nothing more. The doctor just now examined a patient close by. Only that, the noisy radio suddenly gone quiet. Sky had just as suddenly turned an oppressive color. As Ooishi mused that it might start to rain, a torrential downpour started as though trying not to disappoint him. Eventually, Ooishi stopped the car. The only sound to break the silence were the percussion of the rain on the roof and the soft squeak of the windshield wipers. Let's do this a bit hush-hush, shall we? Saying that in a quiet voice, he exited the car without an umbrella, careful not to make any noise. Ooishi leaned over, indicating the other side of the thicket. He has pointed to a prefabricated shed and a car was parked outside it. The car looked obviously well cared for. It wasn't a vehicle that had been left there for several years. What's that shed? It contains equipment used by the Forestry Service. I heard that they don't go near it except during the summertime. Does that car belong to someone? Somebody from the Forestry Service then? Don't know. It doesn't look like an official vehicle though. Ooishi was plenty cold, but my nervousness was gradually increasing. Just in case. Seeing that, Ooishi returned to the car. I thought he was going to get an umbrella, but he had grabbed the onboard radio instead. Hello, this is Ooishi. Do you read? Greetings. This is the Okonomiya special police, I think. I think that's what it stands for. I don't know. Can't remember. Ooishi's phone will read you loud and clear over. I'm currently in front of the Forestry Service's equipment shed. Not the one in the direction of Higurashi, the one in Takatsudo. If you head there from Hinazawa, front of the cutback, there's some suspicious people in the shed. Proceeding to investigate. If you don't hear back from me in 5 minutes, get in touch with the local police substation and have them send a cruiser as soon as possible. If you would, please. Understood. Well then, shall we go take a look? Since he was first confined here, he had heard the sound of a car multiple times. Okay, are we going back to the kidnapped victims' point of view, I guess. So he just thought the far-off sound was more of the same. However, the reaction from his captors was, until now, something he hadn't seen before. They jumped, reacting as if shocked by a jolt of electricity, pressed against the window, cautiously peering outside. They stopped. Somebody from the Forestry Service? This is bad. Man, looks like a cop to me. And the captors lifted the boy by his collar and pressed a blade to his cheek. Good, keep quiet for a bit. I think you know this, but if you try and shout, there'll be problems. Toshiki Inugai was sure that the doctors had reported things to the police. He had felt relief when he thought that he was safe, but not imagining that his captors would resort to violence from the corner. The anxiety remained unabated. What do we do? Gotta buy time. Take the kid and slip out of the back. We'll meet back here when the heat's off. And the perpetrators grabbed the boy by the collar and forced him to stand. Of course, Toshiki Inugai tried to resist by feigning that his illness had been aggravated by the short treatment, but his captors paid no heed. That good enough for a bang? Banging. The door was violently banged upon. Excuse me. Hello. The door was banged on again. Toshiki Inugai hesitated for a moment to respond to that voice by yelling. However, while he was being indecisive, his mouth was covered, taking that option away from him. Later, the captors waved at the other to go. The younger perpetrator nodded in response to him, while keeping the boy's mouth covered, started heading toward the back door. Hello, do you need something? How do you do? This is the police. Would you mind opening the door? No. The submarine has us in a bit of trouble. I'll just open. The moment the lock was undone, Ooishi forced the main door open. A gleam of menace in his eyes. He pushed the man aside as he stepped into the room. Then, in the small, empty room, he was able to quickly discern that the boy he was looking for was nowhere to be seen. Here there's an equipment shed for the Forestry Service. There's nothing here at all. There's nothing inside the room that would indicate this was an equipment shed. There's only a mountain of blankets indicating that someone was sleeping here alongside empty food packets strewn about. It's been empty for some time now. Never seen no equipment stored around here. But this is the Forestry Service's building, isn't it? Are you from the Forestry Service? How about that, police? The two of them glared at each other suspiciously. Both Ooishi and the man steadfastly refused to reveal their identity before the other did. The man, judging from the sharp look in Oishi's eyes, realized that it would be hard to talk his way out of this one. No matter what he said, the most time he could buy was probably only a few dozen seconds. The sound of rain that filled the tense moment. Just then they heard the sound of a struggle from far off. Ooishi had a hunch. There was no doubt that Akasaka, who was circling on the back, had run to the perpetrators who were trying to slip away. As Ooishi thought that, the man in front of him reacted a moment faster. The man swung with an attack that was more intended to obscure Oishi's vision, rather than actually hit him in the face. Facing his opportunity, the man aimed a kick at Oishi's groin without any hesitation. What? Oh, of course, they always had to go for that. But he missed his mark. He was unable to land the critical blow. The man trying to pin Ooishi grabbed him by the base of his neck, and with both hands and fiercely tried to push him down. As Ooishi fell backwards, as if kicking the man upwards, he dug his foot into the man's midsection. With that leg acting as a fulcrum, the man was flung by the falling Ooishi as if by a circle throw. Two of them squared off in the pouring rain. Isn't this interesting? You want to go? Ooishi is trying to cheer himself on the ground, as if trying to cheer himself on, grinned smugly. He then stood up while brushing the mud off himself. Even though he countered the assault, Ooishi was getting up rather awkwardly compared to the man who he threw, who swiftly sprang to his feet. Ooishi-san, hurry! Akasaka's voice rang out from a distance. Judging from the distress in his voice, he was already engaged in the fight and wanted Ooishi to reconvene with him. Can y'all even hear me over the sound of the rain? I tend to leave the volume of the game quiet, so, I can actually be heard in some form, but I'm leaving it up on purpose this time. But Oishi's hands were full of sweat. Akasaka-san, sorry, but can you wait a bit? The man raised both fists in a stance that hinted at him being acquainted with karate or some other form of martial art. Of course, Ooishi, as an officer of law, was decently versed in judo. He also had the moxie to have been through his fair share of fights before. Because of that, he could tell the man in front of him was quite a bit better at fighting than he was. Damn it. Thinking that this was going to be easy just because the order came from his unlucky family to release the hostage had been a big mistake. Been pretty good. It's been a while since I got this worked out. She played up the situation like it was no sweat. The opponent, seeing his attitude, took that to mean that Ooishi wasn't going to go down easily. The man wildly charged forward, attempting to grab Ooishi. The man managed a successful punch from his low stance. Ooishi would be tackled to the ground and ended being mounted. It was something you saw altering children fought, but it really was a bad position since you couldn't do much once you were in it. Ooishi, responding to that move, also lowered his stance to collide with the man head on. The moment they clashed, Ooishi grabbed the man's lapel. As he yanked his lapel upwards, he smashed into the man's solar plexus with elbow of the same arm. It was a move from Ooishi's own personal brand of Rolling Judo. He then grabbed on with his free hand and attempted to throw his opponent with both hands. The man lowered his center of gravity and swung his arms in a large arc, entwining them with Ooishi's. Not only that, but he had forced both of Ooishi's elbows to the outside. Ooishi, now in an awkward position, was in danger of exposing his back with his hands still clutching the man's chest. This guy practiced Aikido or grappling, didn't he? Ooishi cursed the fact that his fingers were twisted into the man's shirt and couldn't get away. At least his skirt. But he was still in the awkward position of being bent over, and to top it off, at zero range, man was able to read Ooishi's movements completely as he tried to scramble his way into a better position. And then took the palms of his hands and swiftly clapped them over Ooishi's ears. Clapping the ears and any other martial arts except for self-defense was basically forbidden. Karate and Judo didn't recognize it as a legal technique. It was that much of a simple, dangerous attack. Ooishi raised both his hands and tried to reflexively clutch at his own ears. But before that could happen, the man wrapped his arms around Ooishi's neck. His thick biceps clenched firmly around the base of Ooishi's neck like a vice. Ooishi instinctively thought he was going to be killed. After that, it wasn't hard to believe that a man like this, who was accustomed to fight, clutched his opponent's neck from this position. And turned more red, but his opponents didn't do that. He had chosen to keep his hold and force Ooishi to lose consciousness. That's why Ooishi at the moment, even though his face was twitching, was grinning widely. Even though his opponent had a chance to kill him, he didn't choose. He was thinking, this guy has no intention of killing me. More red. However, even though that might be the case, the man's hold on his neck was by no means gentle. No means at all, Ooishi's consciousness began to fade. Having the experience of being taken down countless times in judo during his student days, Ooishi was utterly resigned to the fact that it was over. Akasaka was finally recovering from the intense pain of being kicked in a rather sensitive area. Oh, good, so they landed that hit with him. He had bumped into the captor carrying the boy by the back entrance. He had seen Toshiki Inugai's picture plenty of times, but wasn't able to immediately ascertain if the boy in front of him was a real deal. What with his mouth covered in packing tape. Also, with his limited experience, it wasn't hard for him to panic over how to deal with the situation. Of course, the perpetrator didn't overlook this momentary lapse. His kick landed squarely in a critical spot, with Akasaka not even having time to call for help. As the man flung the boy over his shoulder, he headed toward the front of the shed. But upon hearing Ooishi's bellowing voice, he gave up and going in that direction. He then dashed off towards the forest, as if the weight of the boy slung over his shoulder wasn't even there. Akasaka was lost for a moment. Meeting with Ooishi, who was fighting up to him, was by far the safer option, but he couldn't just lose sight of the fleeing man. Akasaka stood up and chased out toward the captor's back. He ran through a short thicket, branches and fallen leaves, pinching underfoot. Tips of branches raked and clawed at him, small scratches inscribing themselves on the body one after another. He kept on stepping into puddles of mud, and his shoes were soon filled with murky water. Akasaka, traveling through this unexplored forest, was, even though this was an emergency situation, extremely unpleasant. Stop! This is the police! As he said that, he regretted it immediately, as it was but a waste of breath. There wasn't a thief in the world who would politely stop when told to by the police. To a city boy like Akasaka, running through this forest was an arduous task. However, it must have been no easy task either for the man carrying the master's grandson. He neither gained nor lost ground in his pursuit. Akasaka, upon realizing that, gained back a bit of composure to keep on chasing him. We were running in the same conditions. In fact, the man running with an awkward stride was at far more of a disadvantage. He couldn't run forever. Eventually, he'd definitely trip and fall. As long as he was being hounded, he would definitely stumble. And soon his wish was fulfilled. Whoa! The man who had stopped in something and lost his balance was no longer able to bear the weight of the boy dropping him. Akasaka and honestly didn't care for the perpetrator at all. just as long as he can ensure the safety of Toshiki Inugai. So if the perpetrator ran off by himself, it was perfectly acceptable. But seeing that Toshiki Inugai was important to the man as well, and didn't neglect to just run away empty-handed. Akasaka didn't know what to do in this kind of situation. His first priority should probably be to ensure the safety of the boy, subduing his capture being less important. Grappling with the perpetrator wasn't something he planned on. Most likely, it was either do or die. Akasaka's moment of indecision proved to be fatal. The man aiming right between or other, or both of Akasaka's eyes, struck out with a jab. Not wanting that, Akasaka raised both his hands, showed his face. At the moment, the man kicked at his unguarded midsection. It almost felt like his vital organs were being squeezed out of his body, but he latched onto his opponent's leg. But his opponent didn't hesitate one bit. Leading with his seized foot, the man jumped at Akasaka, applying pressure and pushing him down. Akasaka was unable to withstand that and fell, but under no circumstances was he letting that leg go. The two men fell together in a tangled heap. The man was desperate to pull his leg free from Akasaka, but having fallen in an awkward position, was unable to. Two of them rolled around on the ground, floundering about, trying to regain an advantage. But Akasaka, who was holding onto his opponent's knee with both hands, and that opponent who had complete freedom to move such a body, were in two completely different situations. The man gained a positional advantage on Akasaka, who was still lashed into his leg and couldn't move away, and pounded full force on his head with both of his fists. Not only that, he found a rifle nearby and beat it against Akasaka's skull. Well, that's going to do some damage. The difference between being hit with a fist and being hit with a rock was vast, obviously. Akasaka quickly thought of letting go of the man's leg to free his hands to protect his head. But if he let go here, the man would get away. If he didn't dig in here, everything would be for naught. The boy he was trying to save right here. He was going to save him and go back to Tokyo. If he could do that, then it was goodbye to this freakish village. Without looking, I could tell my forehead had split open and was gushing blood. But I didn't let go of the man's leg. I cut up him. I won't let go. And the man realized that no matter how much he beat my head, he wasn't getting away. He used both his hands to grab my throat as if to crush my windpipe. I pulled my head back as a slight form of resistance, but there was no use. The man's hands enveloped my neck and began to crush it like a vice. It was less about the pain of not being able to breathe, so much as it was choking so hard I felt like I couldn't throw up. I felt like my stomach was going to turn itself inside out, but I could only endure it. Damn it. My throat hurts. I won't let go. I can't let go. I don't want to be here. I want to resolve this and go back to Tokyo. Go back to Tokyo and talk to Yuki. All about her unborn child. We're going to talk about her bright future. I had no intention of loosening my grip. However, it loosed just a bit, and the man's leg came through. The man kicked as hard as possible, and I tumbled backwards. My head was spinning, and I was unable to get up right away. I couldn't even put any strength into getting up in the first place. Even so, I couldn't back down. I let him say, now the chance for a miracle come again. Even just catching their scent was nothing short of a miracle. If we weren't able to get the man's experience on back here, there wouldn't be another chance. The man tried to drag the boy to his feet, but the kid was displaying some unexpected resistance, allowing me to get up unnoticed. I grasped the rock the man had just beaten me over the head with. Now it's my turn. Yarg! The rock should be able to supplement what meager strength I had left, adding more than enough power to my attack. My fist, still wrapped around the rock, dug into the side of the man's torso. It seemed like it hurt him quite a bit. The man rolled around for a bit, clutching his side. Freed from the man's grip, the boy hid behind me. Toshiki Inugai, right? I've come to help you. Boy, those were the words he was waiting for the most. But the crisis was still not over. That was because even though he was still clutching at his side, I didn't fly. The man had gotten up, and he had taken a fighting stance. I could see in the man's eyes the resentment at the pain. It caused him confidence that he could still beat me. If we were to clash head-on again, he might not even stop if my head were split open. Stop resisting. Surrender quietly. You should just hand the boy over. Do you want me to snap your neck? Who would listen to you now? Reinforcements are on their way. There's nowhere for you to run. The man reacted adversely to the word for reinforcements. Which that was because he now knew that arguing like this wasn't just a waste of time, but getting closer and closer to danger. Realizing that the man shifted mental gears almost too quickly. That doesn't finish as fast. How about this? What the man pulled from his back pocket was, of all things, a gun. Of course, I'm a police officer. It's not like I don't know what a gun is, but having one pointed at me was something I never experienced before. Was it real? Of course it was. There's no way it'd be a replica in a situation like this. Put both your hands behind your head and lay down quiet. Don't get cocky, you villain. Won't do anything you say. You stupid idiot. You not know what this is without me shooting you with it? Then shoot. Reinforcements will hear the gunshot and head right over here. Are you stupid? We're in the middle of the forest. On top of that, it's raining. You'll never hear a thing. As long as he still held that gun, no matter how much I yelled at him, I was at a distinct disadvantage. But I still had a fighting chance. Firing his shoes, instead of wasting time yelling at each other like this, I would just shoot him and take the boy. That was the fastest and would suppress any sort of further resistance from him. But the man was demanding my surrender without having fired a shot, meaning that he either didn't want to shoot or couldn't. In other words, the man in front of me was soft. If I could buy even just a little more time, the factors that would lead to my victory were numerous. Ooishi was probably on his way ahead. The reinforcements we called for before coming here should already be on their way too. Not only that, they should have contact with the police station. Without a doubt, somebody stationed in the village would be here much quicker. Damn it. Do I have to put a bullet in you to understand how dangerous this thing is? There's no escape. Don't add to your crimes. The moment I heard the rustling of foliage and heavy footsteps approaching. Before she was coming here, it was a whole new ballgame. But a man couldn't have more than one gun. Oh, she's on. Over here, over here. Huh? And I thought that time was on my side. But I failed to even imagine that the enemy could also have reinforcements. You have to tell a man who had just appeared as one of the perpetrators just by looking at him. What are you doing? If you don't hurry up, the police will get here. Stop lollygagging. Damn it. What happened to Ooishi-san? Ah, that chubby fella, he's down for the count. Yes? Damn it. The boy, sensitive to the impending danger, hurled up behind my back. How could this be? Damn it! Your buddies and coming. Serves you right. Shoes on the other foot now. As I backed up against a large tree that still protecting the boy, the second man also pulled out a gun. I won't be saying this twice. Put your hands in your hands and your head. Put your hands on your head and lie down. Oh God. I refuse. That shouted in protest, blood erupted from my left shoulder. It took a few months to register that I had been shot. Compared to the ones from movies and TV dramas, the first actual gunshot I heard was simple and mundane. In fact, the sound was more akin to the small fireworks I used to buy from the corner store as a kid. But there was no comparing the pain. It was a fear you knew only after you'd been shot up. Sir, are you okay? Are you okay? The boy in his fusion tugged at my clothes, agitating me even further. I wanted to pull on a bold face and reassure him, but my force was hers and had the opposite effect. Alright, I've already called for backup. There'll be a full squad here soon. It'll be quicker to put you through on your head after the cops get here. The fuck did I do? But the family said no needless killing, so I'm taking it easy on you. Don't mess with me or I ain't holding back. This was bad. It was very, very bad. The second man was a completely different beast than the first. He had no signs of indecisiveness or mercy. If this man said he'd shoot, he'd shoot. It wasn't somebody like a man, it wasn't somebody that a man like me could buy time from. I really hate to admit it, but at the moment, the image of his smiling face crossed the back of my mind. I know what that meant. I was warning myself not to throw my life away over a matter of pride. Of course I didn't want to die here. I was just starting a new life with Yuki, and I wanted to see the face of our soon-to-be-born child. I wish I risked my life for some minister's grandson when I was at such a critical juncture in my life. Damn it! I need to stop rambling to myself. What do I do now? Give up the boy and extend my own life? What a good idea. Fucking fly. What a good idea. Everybody's life is precious. My own life was in danger. Nobody will blame me. God damn it, it hurts, it hurts. If I had known it would be this painful, I wouldn't have played the tough guy. My biggest miscalculation though was that the sound of the gunshot was far quieter than I had imagined. It was only that loud, it would be drowned out by the rain in the forest. It wasn't something that somebody far away could hear. Damn it! Wait, just wait. I don't want to die. And I don't want to kill you. As long as you understand. Don't shoot, okay? Don't shoot. I have a wife waiting for me at home. I don't want to die. I won't shoot as long as you don't yell or nothing. Just quietly put your hands on your head and lie down. Oh, really? Oh, really? You'll keep your promise, right? It's a promise between men. I will. Promise between men. Keep your promise. Keep it. You want to get down on the ground, okay? I'm getting down. And keep my promise, so stop pointing that gun at me. You still think you're shooting me, aren't you? You're gonna shoot me, don't you? Make it down on the ground. You're just gonna shoot me in the back of the head, aren't you? I won't. Fine. I'll put it away. Put the gun away. It's a promise between men. There. No problem now, right? Oh my god, this fly is gonna drive me fucking insane. Yeah, absolutely no complaints. Yeah. Goes over in a flash. The moment he lowered his gun, Ooishi didn't let his chance slip by. Ooishi had been assessing the situation for quite some time from behind the two men. Since they had their guns trained on me, she didn't really have a chance to jump in. Seeing the look on Ooishi's face, indicating that he wanted me to create an opening, and took on the role completely. Ooishi forcefully lifted the arm while holding the gun, and then took the gun from the man in an instant. The other man, who was a bit slow in grasping what was happening, pointing his gun at them, but with his ally grappling with Ooishi, he couldn't pull the trigger. If that man was the one I was wrestling with Ooishi at the moment, he might have shot without hesitation. This man wouldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot. Ooishi kicked the other man away, and while aiming the stolen gun with his left hand, pulled out his own. With the guns akimbo, he was aiming at both men at the same time. I do believe that's checkmate. It was perfectly played. The heedless of the guns pointed at them, the men shouted "Scram!" as they scattered away at full speed. It was over in an instant. No sooner running away without putting up a fight was honestly unexpected. Ooishi quietly clicked his tongue in admonishment, slipped both guns into his pants pockets. Guys know their stuff. What do you mean? An officer won't fire at somebody who's fleeing. I want to keep my pension here. Ooishi and I grinned at each other. Are you Toshiki Inugai? The grandson of the Minister of Construction, Inugai? Yes. This is going to be a major incident. You should probably only cut the tail off the lizard, though. Ooishi smiled amusedly. The fact that the Onigafuchi defense lines, or that the son of apparently behind them, was pulling the strings was apparent, proving it would not be easy. And with apologies to Ooishi, this incident was unlikely to go public. If this caused an uproar, it would obviously lead to the minister losing its office. With the HQ having decided that doing so was in the national interest, this would probably be cleaned up quietly. It might be a rough way of saying it, but this was born in the shadows and is going to die in the shadows. Ooishi probably already understood the implications behind this incident. For the time being, let's cordon off the area, since it seems that one of them still has a gun. For that, let's get Inugai-kun to safety and get you to the hospital. As the tension of the situation faded, the pain from the gunshot wound in my shoulder blossomed once again. My forehead was also stinging painfully and had grown hot enough to start a fire. Thinking that the tension had caused me to sweat, I wiped my forehead, and what came off was a large amount of blood. I realized that my shirt had been stained bright crimson from the blood flowing from my head. I turned around. The boy was safe and sound, without a doubt. There would probably be an investigation on the men who ran, but that was for another day. At this point in time, I could safely say we had cleared the major hurdle of securing the boy's safety. As soon as I recognized that, it felt like the lights in my head had been hit by a power failure. My knees buckled from underneath me, the ground there feeling as soft as a cloud. It didn't feel unpleasant, even as I was covered in the rain-soaked mud. Ooishi came closer, asking if I was okay, but somehow I couldn't tell. I turned off the switch to the last light in my head. The exhaustion enveloped me. Sleep. Something softer than a blanket wrapped around me. Okay. Just fucking fly. Well, there's the end of that chapter of, or that sub-chapter of Higurashi, chapter 4. This was a lot longer. I knew I did the good thing of separating this one into like cutting off from the last episode. Because man, I was recording for almost 50 minutes. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe and hit the bell and all that stuff for to be notified of all the videos I upload, whether it be this one or the Hololive videos. Hope you return for more. Bye bye.